September is World Alzheimer's Month, a campaign used to help unite people across the globe and raise awareness of the condition as well as dementia overall. Alzheimer's disease is the most common type of dementia, with around 850,000 people in the UK impacted, according to the NHS. Dementia is a progressive condition that affects multiple brain functions, including memory. In light of the Awareness Month, an Alzheimer's expert has pointed out some key misconceptions when it comes to Alzheimer's disease. Hannah Karim, care expert manager at Later Living Marketplace Lottie, explains that these misconceptions can have a negative effect on communication barriers and isolation, as well as increasing stress. Stereotypes and myths can have a harmful impact on both those living with the condition and their carers. The expert explained, as we enter this year's World Alzheimer's Month, it's so important to dispel the biggest myths, stereotypes and misconceptions about living with Alzheimer's and caring for those with this condition. Negative assumptions can lead to those with Alzheimer's feeling diminished or isolated, impacting their self-esteem and sense of identity. Incorrect beliefs about the capabilities of those with Alzheimer's can be extremely harmful for their quality of life, too. They may limit their engagement in activities, create a communication barrier, and affect how they feel about themselves. These stereotypes can also impact caregivers, too. They may experience increased stress levels, a greater emotional toll, and act as a barrier to seeking help for caregivers who are struggling. As well as this, our latest research shows that we're at a critical point for caregivers, with more carers than ever before turning to Google for support with their mental health and caregiving responsibilities. To help debunk the common misconceptions, the expert explains them below. 5 Alzheimer's disease myths debunked by expert. Myth 1, having Alzheimer's means you won't remember anything. The expert explains that despite memory loss being a common symptom of the disease, many are still able to remember events from their past as well as experiencing moments of clarity and recognition. Although, if you are caring for someone with Alzheimer's, the experts advises to avoid asking them if they can remember. You should avoid questions like "remember when," even though you may think this is helpful to jog their memory. Instead, try talking more openly about the past, leading the conversation calmly by saying things such as "I remember when," as this can allow them to open up and join in whenever they feel comfortable to do so. Myth 2, it's appropriate to describe those with Alzheimer's as suffering. Communication methods have a direct impact on people with Alzheimer's, the expert emphasizes. It means that using phrases such as suffering from Alzheimer's or victim of dementia can have a negative effect on the person with the condition as well as their loved ones. Instead, the expert explains it is more appropriate and respectful to use language to show Alzheimer's is not defining the person in their life, for example, say a person with Alzheimer's or living with dementia. Myth 3, you can't engage in any fun or meaningful activities. It can be a little overwhelming or even sometimes challenging to spend quality time with a person who has Alzheimer's. However, Hannah Karim emphasizes that the best part of a loved one's day is often spending time with you. Whether you are just relaxing or having some fun together, it can really help shape their experience. Visits and quality can have a lot more impact than you think, influencing how they feel and even how they eat, the expert explains. From playing familiar music to exploring arts and crafts together, there's something to try for everyone. Remember, even if it's a slower pace than what you're used to, you're making memories together. Myth 4, Caregiving for Alzheimer's is all about them, not the carer. Caregivers play a vital role in looking after a person with Alzheimer's, meaning it is important to recognize the support given each day. Caring can be rewarding, but it is also challenging, so it is key to understand that a carer can feel down and frustrated at times. It can be overwhelming when things happen out with your control. So the expert urges loved ones to look out for signs of frustration, such as shortness of breath, chest pains and feelings of panic or lack of patience. Taking steps back when needed is important. Little things like going for a walk outdoors can allow for a reset. There are also lots of support groups both in person and online that may come in handy. Myth 5: You've got to talk differently to someone with Alzheimer's. Despite your best interest, you may find yourself talking a little differently to a loved one with Alzheimer's. Speaking in a childlike tone can sometimes come across as patronizing and demeaning, leaving your loved one feeling irritated, anxious or even overwhelmed. It is important to remember that everyone deserves dignity and respect, and that each person's experience of Alzheimer's is unique. With that in mind, it is key to make sure they feel as comfortable as possible, communicating clearly and calmly to help. You should use simple sentences and give time for them to respond, the expert explains. Don't miss the latest news from around Scotland and beyond. Sign up to our daily